The days are passing by. The situation remains tense. The tank forces are melting away, and the fuel has already become so scarce that really only limited advances can be achieved. The days become colder and colder. Frequently, I am with Schmidt in the regimental office. Here I receive the information that I need to gain an overview over the situation at the front line for myself. As I am standing in front of the barracks with a sergeant smoking a cigarette, a field car and a truck stop on the road. A lieutenant jumps out. I recognize Lieutenant Fuchs. We salute properly, and he inquires about the pioneer platoon of the regiment. Parts of it are here in Modstock. We give him that bit of information too. He'd like to speak with the company commander. We let him proceed into the barracks. Shortly after, he emerges and asks whether I didn't want to come along. Where to and why is my polite question. We are hunting for the little traitors and are going to eliminate the rat's nest. For that I need a few pioneers, since they've probably set up a few little surprises for us. I am torn between feelings of duty and the expectation to send little children into certain death. "Let's go, just come along," remarks the lieutenant. The sergeant notices my hesitation and quickly says that I still had something to straighten out with the captain. There'd be time afterward. The lieutenant turns about, jumps into his field car and states that I could go along the next time. I'm not feeling well in this matter, but I thank the sergeant for his support. He already knows what lays ahead. One does not need to be present here. I get on my way to the tank repair shop and talk with the mechanics. We deliberate how to improve the armor protection on the turret and whether track links there would be able to at least stop the anti-tank rifle shells. Several hooks are welded onto the turrets. That way the commanders may decide themselves whether they want to attach the track links there. In the evening we are sitting together. I draw a map based on the information that I've received. The Russian is pushing in the south, so nothing new there. Further east, the front line is stable since we are holding on to the elevated anti-tank gun position and are using Hill 113 as an observation post. To the left and right of the Lenin Canal, assault spearheads are being advanced again and again, which however keep failing apart due to the infantry lacking forward momentum. We are finding out that we are now being opposed by Azerbaijans, Georgians and Armenians, many defectors among that population who were certainly forced into combat. Poor pigs, but an enemy is an enemy. To the north, there's still Stalingrad, but that ought to be in the sack soon, and the Russian can pack it up. Hopefully before it will get really cold again. Though frozen ground lets the supply roll. The next days we move out at the fire brigade with our Panzer IIIs as far as the fuel allows, with the infantry, and straighten the frontline segments or improve our defensive positions. I hope not that I won't go ahead here. We need tanks and personnel to break through further. We will see what's still to come. We are delegated to attempt a limited advance with a small combat detachment. 8 tanks and 4 armored personnel carriers are to cut off an assault corridor of the Russians and roll up the front lines from south to north. Again, we have 2 Panzer IV long with us and a few short-barreled 4s. We stay with the 3s in the background and provide covering fire if things become hairy. Here we have well-fortified strong points between which the Russian is haunting around. Unfortunately, there had been hardly any reconnaissance, thus we are driving into the unknown. But alright, we have plenty of armor and the assault is on a roll. It doesn't take long, we receive in the vicinity of the sugar cone anti-tank gun fire. Probably 10 anti-tank guns are firing on us, and we are lucky that they are not aiming well. The artillery observer quickly conveys the coordinates, and a short time later the anti-tank gun emplacements lie under the well-aimed, devastating fire of our artillery. That's working for once. We are able to take 40 men and 3 officers prisoner. Their guns are for the most part destroyed and remain behind. Onward it goes, and again we reach poorly visible terrain. Now it's swashing onto us. Stalin organs are shooting into our area, everyone's taking cover, and we hope to get out of this okay. Already it's shaking the tank and we stand still. "Engine out," remarks Hermann. "We can't get it started." At least we are not on fire. Another 5 minutes, then the shelling subsides. I open the hatch and take a look at the mess. Apparently a hit in the engine block or a large piece of shrapnel, coolant is leaking out, and God knows what else might be damaged. Another Panzer IV short is out of commission. A long-barreled one has lost its track. I report the damage to the leader of the combat detachment. We are to wait for the repair unit. We assist at the long barrel with the reattachment of the track. Together with Powell, the tank gunner of Schlüter's crew, I am reattaching the track with a long breaker bar. The others are pushing and showing so it can go further ahead. To a command, the driver pulls forward, the tank leaps forward, the breaker bar is flung out of the track with enormous force and rammed into the right arm of Powell, the gunner. Straight through the upper arm, but apparently only tore the muscle and didn't break any bone. Everything is covered in blood, but it seems to look worse than it is. What a mess! We take care of him, and the commander, Master Sergeant Schlüter, shouts at me whether I could get in as a tank gunner. I already had experience with a 75mm long-barreled gun. I look at my crew. They are encouraging me to get in. They would take the tank along with the injured gunner back. So I gather my stuff and climb into the Panzer IV. It would have been nice if it had happened without someone injured. But even this way I'm finally able to take this sharp sword to the opponent. It goes ahead. 6 remaining tanks and 3 armored personnel carriers are rolling forward. An armored reconnaissance vehicle joins in and is supposed to scout the approach. It takes off and disappears in a cloud of dust. Schlüter gives me some instructions that I may engage identified targets independently. If he taps me on the shoulder, I should wait. That will work. Via radio we receive information that a larger unit is supposed to lie ahead of us. Therefore, hatches tight once again and into a wedge formation. Already receive shelling, but it's no anti-tank guns. T-34s and BTs as well as a KV-1 are standing opposite us. Frontally we won't be able to get anywhere there. Therefore we split up, the artillery strikes, and we are flanking the Russians as well as possible. The terrain is not favorable, but we make good progress. Only a few shells are going in our direction. Halt to fire is ordered, and I have the first turret of a T-34 in the optic. Fire! One can see the shell roaring to the opponent. The hit leaves the turret of the T-34 hanging cockeyed. Next tank. A BT-7 drives up from cover in order to attach the armored personnel carriers. Not a good idea. It's struggling up the little slope and presents its broadside to me at a range of 1,000 meters. I pull the trigger, and in a ball of fire, the tank bursts apart. Now I do have the undivided attention of the Russians, and a literal hail of gunfire rains down upon us. No damage, but very loud. There's a tap on my shoulder. On the radio I hear the commander. The KV, take it, Rudolf, or else it roll up our entire left flank. The turret turns, loader gives a signal, and I aim at the turret of the giant. 800 meters. I shoot. The shell only scratches along the turret. The beast keeps rolling, but the turret is not yet pointing in our direction. Second shot. This time it passes right underneath the main gun barrel. So aim for the chassis after all. The third shot hits, and the Colossus stands still. But it's not out of commission yet. The Panzer III and the stubbies are also firing on the block of steel, but can't penetrate. I take my time once again. A lot of time. Readjust once more. Think where the last hits were located. Calculate and fire. Direct hit. It's finished. Is smoking. The crew bails out. We roll on. The crew congratulates me on the 3 kills. That's right, I was going to write that down. Without mercy, we fight down the Russians. Machine gun nests are run over. Trucks are shot to pieces by machine gun fire. Russians are jumping from destroyed cover and are falling under the concentrated fire. Ammunition stores explode. Fuel trucks are blown into the sky. After an hour, the nightmare is over. We come to a halt. But the price, once again, is high. 3 tanks are total losses, 4 dead and 4 wounded tankers. 1 armored personnel carrier is still able to drive. The infantry also lost 10 men. But we have peace and quiet in the corner now. The prisoners are driven together by the advancing Cossack unit. I'm standing in the turret looking at that. The Cossacks aren't too squeamish with the Russians. There seems to exist a deep-rooted hatred, and the German officer among the Cossacks has got his hands full so that things get too brutal. We roll back since we are probably be needed again soon. Toward evening we are back in Mostock. I climb out of the long-barrel tank, and the crew thanks me for my action. A bottle of schnapps is pulled out and goes around. Master Sergeant Schlüter is happy that he'll now have 14 kill rings on his tank gun. I'm looking around for my tank and go over to the repair unit. A piece of shrapnel in the engine block went through a lot of stuff, that little piece of crap, remarks a non-commissioned officer in the repair unit. We have to organize a replacement engine, otherwise you'll be taking a break, Rudolf. He still adds. My crew is also there, and I tell them what happened. Congratulations are raining down on me, but also a bit of melancholy, since I know that the crew will now be split up as a replacement unit until our tank is back in service again. Well then, that's how it is. I have to go back to the quarters now soon, as Schmidt comes hurrying by. To the company commander at once, and I get on my way. As I enter, Schlüter is just coming out and gives me a grin. Till later, Rudolf, he still remarks and walks on. I report dutifully to the captain and await what might be up again now. The door opens up. The regimental commander is there. Colonel Freiherr von Liebenstein inspects me. I get quite nervous. He asks whether I was a daredevil with the T-34. Then he enumerates a few further missions of the last months. I quickly nod and notice that I'm slowly starting to sweat. He looks at my decorations and inquires how many tank kills I had racked up. Now I have to pose a counter question. Did he mean tank kills as gunner or as commander? He wanted to know all the kills, and I answer, with the 3 from today, it should be then 24? The captain smiles. The colonel pulls up his eyebrow. Corporal Peterson, at attention! It thunders in my direction. I almost jump and stand still. Effective as of today, I promote you for bravery in the face of the enemy and exemplary fulfillment of duty to the rank of a non-commissioned officer. At ease. The captain has papers for you, and this Berlin story I don't give a damn about. Carry on. He advises me along the way. He pats me on the shoulder and leaves the room. The captain congratulates me, the Sarge and Schmidt get out the bottle. What a day. Successful attack with a long barrel, crew uninjured and now even promoted. I think it will be a long, happy, wet your throat evening.